My name is Vicki Dawn Carlton, and I should start off by saying that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior.
I told him we ain't drinking Fireball no more. You know that stuff has lighter fluid in it, right?
I hated that thing. I mean, technically it was mine. It was a gift. But like a joke gift, Bobby used to do stuff like that.
I came in early that morning. And somehow the streets was clear. You know when you catch that sweet spot right between rush hour and the crack of dawn? Smooth sailing. But then again, you gotta watch out for the drunk drivers.
Well, most of that day was hazy, but I remember us taking a standing shower in the tub and we fell.
I know that I shouldn't watch too much of what's on TV. Most of it is lies and perversions of the truth, but I like a Ninja Warrior. It reminds me that everybody has the power to be a champion. And Pastor Mike should know. He wasn't always where he is today. He wasn't always saved. He was a Hell's Angel. He still got a tattoo on his neck of a kind of skull with a forked tongue sticking out like on a snake, wearing a crown of thorns made out of barbed wire with some kind of bird wings spread on either side.
So for my big 5-0, Bobby was dead set on taking me out to Lake George, teaching me how to fish. If we catch a gar, he said, we'll have it measured. You know, over 20 pounds, that's a prize fish. Come and they take your picture, put your name up on a plaque or something like that. Sounds fine, you know, hearing it now. But Bobby being Bobby was all some big surprise. What I was expecting was just, you know, getting drunk on mojitos, maybe ordering room service, 5 in the morning.
At some point during our wet breakfast, we decided to get our shit together and go to Walmart. I mean, there were things we needed around the house, after all. Things were in kind of a state of disarray. Aaron got his hours cut of work. I had a miscarriage, but it felt like we were coming around.
I met Marcy at a cookout. She held my hand the first day we met. She told me to get in the food line with her. Next thing I knew, she was slapping me on my back, telling me she knew that I was no good and to get her lemonade. It's as if the first day we met, we was already married. Bossed me around like she depended on me, playing with my hair. She made me laugh. That's one thing I always remember. That woman can make anybody laugh.
Aaron brought this bottle with him. He got from this Puerto Rican dude, Hector, who works a night shift. I forget what it's called. It's like a clear liquid, kind of tastes like licorice. But if I see this bottle, I will instantly puke on sight because we had a ton. So we start walking on the grass. Aaron brought this cigarette with him, dipped in cocaine, so we smoke it. It's hot out, and our feet are burning, but we're having the best goddamn time of our lives.
Suffice it to say, I did not catch a prize fish that weekend. Or any fish, for that matter. And nobody came to take our picture, put our name up there on a plaque.
I volunteer every spring at the Sarasota Commons Marketplace Mall as the Easter Bunny. You know, I hand out chocolate eggs and jelly beans. But I like to put little scripture verses in them, kind of like in a fortune cookie. I am the resurrection and the life. Everyone who believes in me will live even after they die.
So we get into the cereal section because I really need some Cocoa Crisps. I like those a lot. And we see there's this shopping cart in the middle of the aisle. You know, those motorized ones for people who need a little assistance, aka fat people. So.
But Bobby being Bobby, he sneaks out, buys me a birthday gift. It was this fish, this plastic googly-eyed fish, you know, like stuck to a board like it had been taxidermed. And I'm just looking at this thing like, what am I gonna do with this? And Bobby, he reaches over and he pushes this little button on it, and that thing starts moving, all mechanical like, flapping there on the plaque. And then it starts singing, mouth moving and everything. Don't worry, be happy now. You know the song. And then in the end, it belches like a real human burp, like it just chugged a whole can of beer.
They didn't used to have an Easter bunny at the Commons, but I made my own costume out of fabric from old stuffed animals that I got at the Goodwill. The manager of the mall, Philip Caruso, he said that it was the best Easter bunny costume he'd ever seen. The most realistic. That's what he said.
God, I hated that thing. And I told him I hated it. I told him I never wanted to go fishing again. I told him I never even wanted to see another fish again.
She was having a hard time with the pregnancy. The doctors wasn't listening to her. She was a little lightheaded, and her heart rate was up. So I tried not to rile her up. But if you knew my Marcy, it was difficult not to rile her up. Her whole body was like electricity.
Got the cart up right, and we decided it was time to blow this popsicle stand to get to Jimmy's sports bar in Clearwater.
We had coffee a couple of times, me and Philip over at Brewmasters in the mall. He told me I was his type. He said he prefers curvy girls, Rubenesque. That's what he said. He said that his wife was a very Rubenesque woman, and that I reminded him of her. I guess when she was younger, because he's almost twice my age.
And then that thing happened at work. Tim Smiths, who's like 28, hardly has any corporate scheduling experience. They give him his own team, his own office, and move him to regional headquarters in Orlando. Well, what does Bobby say? He thinks it's fine. He thinks it's right. He says, well, didn't Tim Smiths go to a really good college? Isn't he raising the bar for the whole company to do better? Isn't it always a good idea to bring in some fresh meat? That's what he said. Fresh meat. And I let him have it.
So we roll up in the parking lot, and it's great because they have terrible parking, so we just pop that sucker up on the curb so we don't have to Stevie Wonder, worry about a thing.
He put his hand on mine when he said that, and he looked at me for a long time. And then he said that he wasn't ready for a romantic relationship because it was too soon after his wife's passing. That was the last time we had coffee.
2 days later, she was asleep in the living room. We had a very late night and had no sleep whatsoever. So I was letting her rest, for a little bit. But nothing was waking her. Not even their screaming. And that sound could wake anybody up. So I kissed her on the forehead and tapped her on the shoulder lightly. Nothing. I held up her wrist. She was gone.
And he just walked over and he pushed that goddamn button on that goddamn fish and it started singing.
I was just handing out chocolate eggs as usual, and this little boy, 5 or 6 years old, in glasses and a yellow bow tie, must just been coming back from church, and he kept coming back for more eggs, and I didn't mind. And then these 2 other boys popped out from behind the old sunglass hut. One of them had chocolate smeared in the corners of his mouth, and the other one was holding a yellow wiffle ball bat. They were making these pig noises.
I like the ambiance in there. They've got these nostalgic beer displays of the old Budweiser Clydesdales. I loved horses as a girl. Hell, I don't think you ever get over that sort of thing.
My mother and I raised those kids together, on our own, without Marcy. And I still didn't touch the bottle.
That's what these kids sounded like pigs when they pushed this little boy onto the floor.
Aaron had lost track of the bottle. It had broken open at some point and sliced his leg. He started singing Mamas and the Papas pretty loudly in the bar. I grabbed a towel and wrapped us in it, and we snuggled on the floor of the bathroom stall.
So that morning, I was letting in these landscapers. Now, when I first saw her, I thought she had fallen out one of the graves, but she was too new, too intact. No wearing clothes one necessarily isn't buried in, but it could have passed. She looked like she was sleeping. I didn't want to call the cops at first because I thought they'd think I did it. Whatever happened to her? But I called. What else you gonna do?
And I just reached up and I pulled that thing down off the wall, singing, flapping in my hand. And I followed Bobby into the living room and I raised it up over my head and I hit him with it.
And then I could feel something stiff begin hitting the side of my head, the side of the bunny head. Crack, crack, crack. I planted a kick as hard as I could given the constraints of the suit. And I mean, it must have landed pretty good because that boy, the one with the wiffle ball bat, he went flying and landed flat on his back on the floor on the Bible scriptures.
All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. I went for a walk on a winter's day. I'd be safe and warm if I was in LA. California dreaming on such a winter's day. Aaron wasn't much of a singer, but he loved that song. Good night, sweetie, he said, and we laughed.
And without thinking, I yanked the bat from his hand and I just started whacking him hard a few times because
I woke up.
Clearly that boy had never been properly disciplined.
And something warm was on my leg.
Not once in his life.
Pinellas County Sheriff was putting me in handcuffs. Where's Aaron? I said, where's Aaron? He's in an ambulance. I said, I want to see him. See him before you put me in jail. Sure shit I did. They're walking me out the bar and I saw a coroner zip up a man-sized bag. Like Tuesday's trash.
People needed to know she was there. Somebody had to account for her body and give her some dignity.
Fell down onto his knees, grabbing at the back of his head.
And then I heard someone crying.
And I hit him again.
It was the little boy with the yellow bow tie.
And then that fish started belching. And that really was just too much. So I hit him again, and I hit him again, and again, and again.
I just wanted to pick him up off the floor and tell him that everything was going to be all right, that the Easter Bunny was going to leave him something extra special in his basket for being so brave. But they were already putting me in handcuffs, if you can believe that.
One of the guys was talking about his daughter.
Then one of them pulled off my bunny hat.
So we all took out our wallets and compared our plastic-covered school photos.
And I could tell that there was nothing in the world that would make that little boy feel any better.
Francisco asked me about my oldest, the third. And Marcy smiled back at me with this look like, I still got it.
Aaron was good to me. He was a good man.
Pastor Mike says that I can't come back to church until I confess my sins to the entire congregation and ask for their forgiveness.
He was down on the floor, his face pressed up against the shag rug. He wasn't reaching for the back of his head anymore. There were spots of blood all around, on the arm of the couch, on the rug, in front of my shirt.
I closed my wallet and I looked up out the window.
And that fish started singing again. My thumb must have pressed up against a button or something. Don't worry, be happy now. And I really let him have it.
That seems a lot to me like removing your Hell's Angel tattoo. That's what I told him.
We had our issues, but he always came right back.
And I don't seem to remember Jesus apologizing for flipping over the tables of the money changers.
2 loons floating on the shoreline.
And that was just for selling stuff on church property. Imagine what he would have done if he would have seen them beating on one of his lost lambs. A little more than tipping over a few tables, that's for sure.
Hell, I really don't know what to do on my own now. Get a horse. Name her Destiny. Win the Preakness. It's hard being sober and losing your fantasies.
Whack! Whack! Whack!
So I'm not apologizing to anybody.
Outside,
I swear it's all I got.
in the tall grass, a woman waved at me until she disappeared.
And that fish stopped singing.